Hello, welcome to Memory and Engagement Opportunity for Wellness. My name is Michelle Hobb, and I'm a speech language pathologist and the leader for the Meadowlark Memory Program and Parkinson's Program, otherwise known as Special Programs Leader. The purpose of this opportunity is to help you to engage and attend to activities. Oftentimes we don't pay attention enough to things that we should be, and just taking time in our day to really devote to being engaged is what we're working for today. We've taken a little break on our brain and body exercises, so we are going to do some of that today. And we're also going to talk about gratitude a little bit. I also wanted to just kind of state last week in our last memory and engagement opportunity, I mentioned that we would do gratitude as well. And then we didn't really kind of wrap that up. So when we think about last week's activity, your journal, your walk down memory lane of writing about a father figure or your father, and some special memories that you might have here. I wanted to also just kind of highlight to take some time to be grateful for that father or father figure that you had in your life. Gratitude is something that really helps us to stay focused and to be engaged in our current world as well as in other people's lives as well. And then, of course, we'll learn, explore, and do a little bit of remembering. The thing we're going to just kind of summarize here to kind of wrap things up from the last couple weeks is talking about the benefits of naming in categories. So really what we are working on when we do structured exercises of naming in categories like we have been doing, and we'll review some more here in just a few minutes, but we're working on word finding. So we're trying to come up with specific words, specific targets, if you will, that we want to say. Throughout our day, there are often times where we want to say something and we can't quite get the exact word out. And so when we spend time to work specifically on naming in categories, that's an exercise that helps us and can carry over to our daily living. It's kind of like, if you do bicep curls, though that's an exercise that can then transfer over to helping you get the milk out of the refrigerator, right? So it's a strengthening exercise, if you will, for finding words within the vault of your memory. It also helps us to work on organization. When we can have things organized in our mind, then we're better able to think of the things that we want and to, again, stay focused on the things that we're thinking. We can use visualization as a mode of helping us to remember things, remember those words or those activities that we're looking for. So picturing what it is that you're thinking of within your mind, and then describing those things that you see that help you to come up with the word you're looking for. And then lastly, we've been working on some subcategorization. So the big picture of a category naming, but then what are some things within that big picture that will also help us to be more specific. This type of naming and categorization really helps the listener especially to know which road you're going down. If you can subcategorize something that you're thinking, it gives your listener a better path of what you're thinking. So let's review our homework from last week. Last week, your homework was to come up with words that fall within the categories of desserts, dog breeds, and vehicles. And then each of those, so our broad categories are those, the desserts, dog breeds, and vehicles. But then we took it to that next level of working on some subcategorization. And therefore, those words within those categories need to start with specific letters. So I did take the liberty of just coming up with some here for you. I'm sure you guys will come up with others. In fact, I hope, because that was your homework assignment. So let's start with our desserts. So for the words that start with F, I came up with flan, fudge, and fruit. So again, some people might not think of fruit as a dessert, but I think it's quite a lovely dessert, especially if you think about the Coco's bananas that Coco Bolos has. And if you think about chocolate dipped strawberries, I think any of those can be a wonderful dessert. So for D, I came up with donut, which, by the way, is probably one of my all-time favorite desserts, and breakfast and snack and whatever. Death by chocolate cake. And then one that kind of brings back some good memories is the dirt and worms dessert, which if you're not familiar with that, that's typically it's like a pudding or an ice cream, and then you have cookie crumbles on top and gummy worms, of course, to top it all off. And then for G, I came up with gingerbread, German chocolate cake, and gelato. So those are those subcategorizations of the desserts that I named. So I hope you came up with some more wonderful desserts. And actually also make sure that you tune in to Cooking with Lisa. So she's going to be doing not necessarily gelato, but some sorbet for you. So I hope you enjoy that. So our next category was dog breeds. So for F, we have a French poodle, a fox terrier, and a French bulldog. So it kind of seems like I'm cheating a little bit because two of the dog breeds have the word French in them, but it was a little tricky to find some. But hopefully maybe if you come up with some others, you'll have to email me and let me know what you came up with. For D, I had Doberman Pinscher, a Dachshund, and Dalmatian. And then for G, a giant schnauzer, a German short hair, and a greyhound. So those were the ones for F, D, and G for dog breeds. So what other ones did you come up with? Did you have several more that I didn't have? I hope so. So vehicles, I have to confess, this one was a little bit more challenging for me. I was trying to be more creative too and think, big picture vehicles, like not just cars. So I did ask my husband and my sons to help me with a couple of these to make sure I was a little more diverse. So for F, Ferrari, I did these ones all by myself. A fire truck and a ferry. So again, thinking more broad, not just those that we find on the street or that we find in our driveway. Although Ferrari would be a fun one to find in the driveway. For D, I have Durango, a dump truck, and a Dart. Yes, a Dodge Dart, that is. And for G, a gremlin, a golf cart, and a gator. So I know a golf cart and a gator are pretty similar, but that's the one the kids helped me on with that one. And I actually too did come up with gremlin on my own as well. Lots of thoughts and memories about talking about gremlins in my younger days. So again, I challenge you on the vehicles one. I hope that you thought outside of the box a little bit and didn't stick to just naming specific types of cars or brands of cars. If you did do that, that's fine and great. Go ahead and try this week then to add on to that and think on those other lines. Oops, I'm sorry that's happening. Excuse that for a second. But try to think about some other things outside of just those cars for naming. All right. So again, let's wrap up our word fluency concept here, and we'll do some other things next week then. So word fluency, what we've been working on, naming within categories, naming within subcategories, all helps you with better word fluency. That leads to confidence in word finding. And when you're feeling confident in your word finding, then you're going to be more apt to try to communicate with other people. So practice this. Again, think of this as your bicep curls, whatever you want to think of this. But make sure that you practice and you find structured time during the day to think about coming up with the words that you want to use. When we're doing our word fluency, we're also working on memory. So we're recalling words from our past, especially when you think about, those categories that we just were talking about, the dog breeds or the desserts or the vehicles, any of those. We're jogging our memories from things that have happened years and years ago to help us come up with specific words to fit within those categories. Again, using associations. What is it when I'm thinking of those desserts? If I'm thinking of dirt and worms as an ice cream treat, can I come up with other words that start with a D that maybe fall within that ice cream world? So using things to help you with those associations. And finally, that leads again to flexible thinking. So if we're doing all of those things, the memory tasks of thinking about words from our past, if we're thinking about words that are associated together, that increases our flexible thinking abilities. We're thinking about things in a different light. So the brain loves a challenge. So thinking about things differently is good for the challenge of the brain. So today our brain and body work is going to be a little bit different, and this is actually going to be the main objective of our session today. We're going to be doing some of the, I just realized this says stoop instead of stroop, so please forgive me, I left off that R on there. So it's called the Stroop effect, and basically what you're doing is you're multitasking in a way. It's actually not multitasking. It's actually more of a working memory task where you're trying to make your brain and your body do different things than what it's programmed to do. You look at this and you say red. That's pretty simple, right? So we've got a couple other colors here. We look at these and we see blue, we see the word blue, we see the word green, we see the word black. Therefore, we say each of those things. If we were to just look at the blue box or the green box or the black box, we would say what those colors are. But when we're working on this Stroop test, and some of you may have done this if you've gone for some neuropsychological testing, if you've ever gone through other types of cognitive tests, you may have done this type of an exercise. So what we're going to do now, though, is say the name of the color and not read the word. Okay, so you say the color that you see. It doesn't matter what word it spells, you just focus on the color. Okay, so our brain wants to read. It wants to just read the word. What you have to do is work on some inhibition for saying what you read and only say what you see in the color. Okay, so again, we're focusing only on saying the color. Okay, so as my instruction says here, name the color that you see. So what I'm going to do is advance the slide, and I will wait a couple seconds before I give you the correct answer. I want to make sure that you're getting some practice with this too. Okay, so name the color. Green, right? So even though the word says red, R-E-D, it's written in a green ink, if you will, a green font. So we say green. Okay, let's try another one. Okay, so this one is pretty simple, right? It's written in blue and it says blue. So we say blue. Okay, let's try another one. Red. Okay, so even though it says a different word, we say only the color that we see. Next. Green. Okay, did you get that one right? So it's written in the color green. Next. Black. Okay, so it's written in black, even though it says a different color. Next. Blue. Good. How are you doing? Are you getting the hang of this? So on these next couple, I want you to try to say the color as fast as you can. So again, I'm going to pause because I want you to say it first, but I want you to name it as quickly as you see it. So if I were to go back to the last one that we just did, blue, right? So I'm going to say it as fast as I can. Okay, so here's your next one. Red. Okay, did you say that one a little bit faster? I hope so. Let's try another one. As fast as you see it come up, say the color. Black. All right, so I hope you're getting the hang of that. So we're going to do that again, but we're going to add in another component. So this is what we're doing we're adding the cognitive load to this task. So we practiced a basic task of first, in that very first slide where we had the green, blue, and black squares with the words, we just practiced naming those colors. Okay. Next step, we're going to name the color, even though it's written to spell a different word. Now we're adding on to that cognitive load by adding a physical task. So now we're going to march in place. So let's just get our marching going. So make sure that you have enough room. You're not going to knock anything over with your marching. You're welcome to stay seated. You're welcome to stand, whatever you feel the most comfortable doing. So the other benefit of this part of the marching in place is that it's an exercise, a physical exercise. So we're getting our heart rate going a little bit too. Anytime we can make that heart rate get up a little bit and get that blood flow going, we're not only working our heart, but we're working our brain and helping our brain to be more healthy as well. All right, so are you getting that heart rate up there a little bit? Okay, so I'm going to keep marching here, but I'm going to use only one hand so that I can advance the slides here. Okay, so here we go. Again, I'm going to pause just so that you can answer without me telling you the answer. Here we go. Green. Okay, so it's written to spell the word blue, but it's written in the color of green. Okay, next one. Keep marching. Blue. All right, did you get that one? Keep marching. Red. I always like those ones. Those are reaffirming, aren't they? Next. Black. Okay, now let's focus. Let's get back into our marching, making sure we're really getting those legs going and those arms going. On these next ones, again, as we did on the previous slide, I want you to name as fast as you can. So really work on that speed of processing. As soon as you see that color and the word, ignore the word and name the color. So I'm going to go back to the last one and give you an example. So we're marching. Black. Okay, so as fast as you can, name that word. Here we go. I will pause again to wait to tell you the answer, but you name as fast as you see that color pop up. Green. Did you feel like you were a little faster? Here's your next one. Red. Hopefully you were really fast on that one. Next one. Blue. Good. Are you still marching? Are you naming as fast as you see that color pop up? Here we go. Black. Good. All right, now take a break. We're going to add on again. So continuing to add on to that cognitive load. So we're going to be marching in place still. We're still going to be naming that color that you see. But this time, whenever you say green, I want you to clap. Okay? So it's going to be a little tricky for me to clap when I am modeling here for you. But clap every time you say green. Okay? So we're marching. Let's go ahead and get back into our march. Again, when we add cognitive load to tasks, we want to make sure that we have the first step right. Okay, so our first step is marching in place. Okay, and then we'll add in naming the color that you see, and then we'll add in clap if it says green. Or not if it says green, if it is green and you say green. All right, so you're marching. Good job. Keep on marching. Very good. All right, here we go. Black. All right, how'd you do? Did you get that one? Good. Here's your next one. Look, I did it wrong. I knew I would do that. Green. I got the clap, but I went ahead and said the darn word. All right, so if we did that one again, we would say green. All right, I was focused so much on changing the slide that I totally went backwards. So we all make mistakes, right? All right, so make sure you're still marching. All right, here we go again. Next word. Red. Good. All right, now these next ones, let's go back into our march, make sure we got our march going really good. And again, I want you to say the color as quickly as you see it pop up. Okay, so again, if we went back to the last one, I would want to have you go red. Okay, as soon as it pops up. Speed of processing. Process it, say it. All right, you're still marching, right? Here we go. Black. Good. So we didn't say that word, so we didn't clap. Good. Here we go. Green. Good. Did you get it? I got it right that time. Didn't miss that one. All right, here we go. Red. Good. How you doing? You still marching? And as quickly as you can. Blue. Good. Now remember, I'm pausing because I don't want to give you the answer, right or wrong. I don't want you to hear an answer. I want you to go as fast as you see that. All right, we're marching. We've got just a couple more left. Green. There we go. So we green and we clap. Good. And pause a second. All right, I think we have one more slide where we get to practice this. Okay. So again, as I said, each layer we're adding on another component of cognitive load, challenging our brain and our body to do things that are more challenging once we've acquired a skill, okay? So, same concept, but what's going to happen is that you're going to have all new words. So we've had green, black, challenge my memory, blue, and red. Okay, so those have been our colors that we've been reading, ignoring, and saying that we see the color physically. So the colors are still going to be those same 4 colors. However, the written words are going to be different. So you're going to be working a little bit more on some inhibition of what you see and only focusing, or what you read, and only focusing on the color that you see. Okay, so again, still marching in place. Let's go ahead and get those marches going. It's always good to smile while you're marching too. All right, so we got our march on. Then we're gonna name the color as fast as we see it. And if it's in the color green, then we're gonna clap. All right, here we go. Oops, I went the wrong way. Blue. Good, did you get that one? All right, keep on marching. Green. Good, hopefully you did all of those. Keep on marching. Red. Good. Is this a little harder or not? Black. Good. I'm hoping you're getting all hang of this here. Next one. Green. Good. Did you get all of those? Next. Blue. Good job. Black. Green. Good job. Okay, so what did you think of that? I hope that you found that a little bit challenging and stimulating all at the same time. So in review, we were working on some cognitive load, some speed of processing, obviously some exercise, and some multitasking here. So I hope you enjoyed that. Again, that's called the Stroop test, or the Stroop effect. If you wanted to look more up about that, you're welcome to do that. So it's something I think is very interesting. I have heard rumors that in the professional world of speech pathology and in neuropsychology and probably occupational therapy, all of those types of professionals where we have used this in evaluation procedures, that it's not as reliable anymore from a normative standpoint, because a lot of us therapists are using it in treatment and in daily exercises. So those neuropsychs are just going to have to come up with some other ways to test the ability to focus on one thing and do something different. But I really do like using this. I use it in boxing. We use it in speech and in voice. So it's a really great exercise to focus and to work on some dual tasking opportunities. So I hope you enjoyed it. All right. So the next thing I want to do is our typical walk down memory lane. And since this is the week leading up to the 4th of July, the Independence Day, I wanted to play this video. It is Lee Greenwood singing Proud to Be an American. This is one of my all-time favorite songs. As we think about a walk down memory lane, it just always reminds me of my dad and my grandpa. And I know we talked about family and military service when we were talking about Flag Day a couple weeks ago. But just those memories of going to the festivities on Independence Day, and this song always played at Lawrence Dumont Stadium. Actually, is that right? Yeah, at Lawrence Dumont in Wichita, and when they had their big, amazing fireworks show. So, and then just listening to my dad and my grandpa telling stories too. So here is Lee Greenwood. It is at a New York game.
America's premier entertainers, Grammy Award winner, Lee Greenwood.
If tomorrow all the things were gone, work for all my life, and I had to start again, just my children and my wife. Thank my lucky stars to be living here today, 'cause the flag still stands for freedom, and they can't take that away. That I'm proud to be an American, where at least I know I'm free. And I won't forget the men who died, who gave that right to me. And I gladly stand up next to you and defend her still today. 'Cause there ain't no doubt I love this land. God bless the USA. From the lakes of Minnesota to the hills of Tennessee, across the plains of Texas, from sea to shining sea, from Detroit down to Houston and New York to LA. Well, there's pride in every American heart, and it's time we stand and say that I'm proud to be an American, where at least I know I'm free. And I won't forget the men who died, who gave that right to me. And I gladly stand up next to you and defend her still today. 'Cause there ain't no doubt I love this land. God bless the USA. And I'm proud to be an American, where at least I know I'm free. And I won't forget the men who died, who gave that right to me. And I gladly stand up next to you and defend her still today. 'Cause there ain't no doubt I love this land. God bless the USA.
All right. So I hope that you enjoyed that song as much as I do. This leads us then to our practicing gratitude and also our walk down memory lane continued, where I want you to grab your journal or your log and write about what makes you proud to be an American. Thinking about that gratitude that we have for all of our forefathers and all of the current soldiers and their families that help to keep us free and safe. So again, proud to be an American. Write about your memories. Write about what makes you the most proud to be an American. All right. So in summary and moving on to your homework, I do again try to keep this pretty consistent because I feel these are the hallmarks of what your daily homework, your daily exercise should consist of. And that is movement multiple times a day. It doesn't have to be 30 minutes, 20 minutes. It can be just a couple of minutes in the morning, in the afternoon, at night. But doing these kinds of things like your toe taps or your heel raises, standing and sitting multiple times while you're maybe watching a TV show during all the commercials, that you just do a sit to stand or you do squats. So just finding time to move every single day. And again, don't forget that daily activity can be considered your exercise too. It's just a movement, gardening, cleaning. Those are things that are important. Those are things that make your body move and help you to stay more healthy. We didn't practice our deep and focused breathing this week because we were working on some brain and body workouts. But do find time every day to focus on that nice inhale in the lower belly or your diaphragm, and then that exhale through the mouth. Finding time, maybe it's first thing in the morning, maybe it's when you're laying in bed and it's easy to feel that rise and fall of your belly when you're flat. So those are some good times to think about it. Finding time every day to attend to a task. In previous sessions, we've talked about doing crossword puzzles or writing about a chapter that you read in a book, but finding time to think and really stay focused on a specific activity. Don't forget about staying connected. I know that this has been a long haul of staying in-house and not being able to get out and about much, but it's limiting our physical distance. It's limiting our physical engagement, but we don't need to let it limit our social engagement. We can still do our calling, our video conferencing, our letters, our texts, whatever it might be. Take the time, try something new. If you've never done, if you've never done a email or you've never done a text, try it. Try something new to help you stay engaged with friends and family. And for your homework, I want you to name all the words that you can think of that are related to Independence Day. So again, we're just kind of reviewing that ability to categorize, and you can come up with some subcategories as well. So things, all the words can be nouns, it can be verbs, can be adjectives, whatever it is, but things that are related to Independence Day. So in closing, until next time, please practice your physical distancing and wear your mask. Stay connected with others and be well. I hope you enjoyed this session this week. Have a wonderful Independence Day, and may we all find some strength in this crazy and weird world that we're living in, but being grateful for the freedom that we have as Americans. Have a wonderful week. Bye-bye.